we're gonna go ahead and get into the Impact recap. Is the text from John Muse, is that show worthy, or is that just a DM thing
Oh, I'm gonna make it show worthy on Patreon.
on Patreon? Okay, we'll
It's the
save
thing
that for the
it's the thing I texted you about earlier today.
okay.
JD getting himself in trouble again on the internet. So
JD's
yeah.
got a big mouth, everybody.
God, he really does. He really does. You sound like my wife. She's right too.
Yeah. On BTI, the design, Khan and Angels defeated Delirious and Yummy Mora. And that I'm running with it. And that was talking BTI, folks. Thank you. Thank you for talking BTI with us.
Controversial take. There's too many cons in wrestling.
I think we got Nick Khan, Tony Khan, Big Khan. Who else? We got Killer Khan, the Great O-Khan.
The Great O-Khan, yes. There's too many cons.
Conrad Thompson. Okay. After the match, Dina requested Callahan come down to the ring. He came down with his new haircut. Said it's time for Callahan to make the next right choice in the process. So he's going to see if he's willing to follow orders. The next thing you know, Callahan gave Delirious the Cactus Driver 97. So Callahan's still trying to get into the design.
Callahan haircut, are we pro or I know we were both in favor of the haircut in theory. In execution, what do we think of Sammy's haircut?
I think I'm a fan of the new haircut.
It's okay.
I mean, I thought I liked it when he lost the hair versus hair match a few years ago to Penta.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, this guy kind of looks good with a buzz cut, because before he kind of looked like he was half homeless. So
did he did in fact look like that? Wasn't a fan of the hairstyle he had been wearing these past couple years. I think this is a good change.
Yeah.
But I don't love it at the same time. Although I don't know, I'm not a hair guy, so I don't know what haircut would look good on Sami Callahan.
I'm as everybody knows, I'm BFI bald, so I'm not
doing it, man. I'm not doing it.
What?
I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen.
We're gonna have to do a bet.
I'm not going to be BFI hair. It's not going to happen.
We're gonna have to do a bet one day, just to get you to be BFI hair.
I'm willing to. Let's keep that interesting. Let's keep that in mind for something good down the line. I'm willing to risk that.
It's a Brady Childs scumbag. It's his fault. He said that to me in a He said that to me in a DM, and I was trying so hard to be mad at him, but it was too funny. I was like, well, I guess I got to roll with that now. He actually called me Impact Bald, but I was like, well, I got to put my gimmick on there, so I put BFI Bald.
BFI, that's way better, man.
Yeah.
Bald?
He called me Impact Bald. I was just like, so he said, hey, Impact Bald, how's Hawaii? And I just like, fuck you. I was like, damn it. It's like when someone gets you good, you can't even be mad at them. You just got to roll with it. It's like, no, you got me.
You got to pay respect and move on. It's just take the loss and try to get better.
The main show opened up with a mini tribute to Jay Briscoe. And then they went into the highlights of Hard to Kill, which started with a tribute to Don West, man. So,
you know what? Real quick, I'm glad that last Jay Briscoe thing. I'm glad we got to talk about him on this show as a part of Impact in 2022. Like that was one of the best parts about this promotion last year was the fact we got a small taste of what the Briscoes could do.
Yeah, you know what? And I meant to talk about that on our Jay Briscoe segment, and I just got too heavy on my rant. And we do. It was so fun covering them in Impact, and I really thought that they just upgraded the whole show every time that they were on it. We didn't get them for very long; they were only in for a few tapings, and they were the tag team champions, and that was cool. Before they gave them back to the Good Brothers, and I think the last time we saw them was at Slammiversary, because that's when Tony Khan had re-signed them. But
2022 is going to go down as a really good year in Impact. In retrospect, I really believe that. Now we have Santino.
Oh, come on. All right. So Impact opened. So next thing you know, we got, did you watch any of Hard to Kill? I know you were busy all weekend.
No.
It was,
if I can't watch it live, it's not as fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. You guys can go onto the Patreon, go to patreon.com/fightgamemedia. I did kind of a solo review of it. But I really had a lot of fun watching this show. I thought it was awesome. Mickie James came out. She's there to celebrate her Knockouts World Championship win at Hard to Kill. She starts talking about how the last rodeo ended with her winning, so Hardcore Country was going to live forever. And then as she's thanking the fans, Bully Ray made his way down to the ring. He told Mickie to get out, got in her face a little bit, threatened to beat her up. And at that point, Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans came down to the ramp and said that if you're going to beat up Mickey, we want a front row seat, which I thought was kind of clever. Steelz was great in this segment, by the way. Steelz wanted to take the Knockouts Championship from James. Evans and Steelz attacked James, and Ray went to grab a table, but Frankie Kazarian and Jordan Grace made the save. And then Santino Marella, the director of Authority, came out and claimed he was going to make a decision what was happening in the ring, but he didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, some random funk music hits, and we got Ernest the Cat Miller. He came down to the ring to give Santino some advice about what to do. So they booked a 6-man tag, a trios match with all 6 competitors. And Santino kept calling Bully Ray Bobby Ray, which I thought was kind of funny. So there you go. He made the 6-man tag immediately. What'd you think?
I like Bully in this role.
Me too.
Mid-card heel feuding with Mickey James. I think that's a good use for him. I think that he is perfectly, for his, I've been hard on Bully these last few months. So I'm gonna pull back a little bit because he's out of the main event. He's really good for his age. He's a really good promo. Good at getting heat. Completely unlikable human being. I respect that. I just didn't want him in the main event.
That was it. That was the only problem. I just didn't want the show. I didn't want it to be the Bully Ray show. That was it.
Which it has been for a few months now. Like, again, the whole will he won't be heel turn. We all it's coming. We said it for months. This is gonna happen. Mm-hmm. This is gonna happen. It happened, and he was like, "I got you." No, he didn't really got it. But in this role, he's fine. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Santino makes me laugh. And I like him. I like him in this role better than Scott D'Amore. I'm a bigger fan of Santino. Really?
Huge. I've never disagreed with you more. I'm going to block you on Twitter. I hate you. We cannot be friends because we disagreed on this.
Brace for debate.
I'm so ranting while you found the button. That was great. Well timed. Yes. What are we debating?
Santino. You're not entertained by him at all, huh?
I mean, do I want to see one? I think it's Michael Ciccarelli is his name.
Tony Corelli.
Tony Corelli, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I knew it was something greasy. I'm Italian. I can say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Italian. It's fine. I don't know. It's not 2013 Raw.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want if he is going to be doing this shtick on this show for the rest of the year, it's going to make this a really difficult watch for me. I didn't like that era of Raw. I don't want to see him, especially with an Authority thing. And Ernest the fucking Cat Miller is out here now.
Come on, you didn't like Ernest Miller?
I liked Ernest Miller in 2000. I thought Ernest Miller was fine in 2000. For one segment, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
The fact that they brought him back, I'm like, all right, now it's too much. No, I don't want to watch Raws I didn't like. I didn't like Raw from 2003 to 2014. Why would I want Impact to be that? I don't like that. I don't like Santino. He can be kind of funny sometimes, sure. But this is going to have this every week now. And he's got we're going to watch Dirty Dango and him talk about this. It's just going to be, ex WWE, guys who never got over. That's what we're going to have on this show. I have no interest in that.
I think having Santino and Dango is a bit too much. I don't think we need Dango at all, but I always got a kick out of Santino. He always made me laugh. So I never liked his. I don't want to see him wrestle, right? And I don't think we're going to because I think he's got a bad neck. But I think that's the reason why he retired. But I popped here just saying Ernest. I haven't seen Ernest Miller on TV in 20 years, so that made me laugh. So I think it's cool for a one-off. I jokingly did say they should make him world champion, but I say that about everybody.
You just say that about everybody. And judging by the history of this company, why not? I just don't. You know what? I would rather it be Ernest Miller as the whatever he's going to be. GM
that's what Jason Hagholm said. He was like,
I agree with Jason. And again, Ernest Cat Miller was always a really good promo, right? He was always entertaining. He made stuff that shouldn't work back in WCW. I like Ernest Miller. I don't like Raw 2014 or 2013. I don't like that. This show is better than that. Right? It's disappointing to me.
Yeah, but man, when Santino called Jerry Lawler, Jerry Stupid Lawler, Like, it still makes me laugh randomly.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that. He did say stuff that was funny, but I don't want him like on my show every week. Like, again, Scott was a wildly inconsistent character to me, but that was his character. He was needless. He was needlessly hard on Josh Alexander more than anybody else on the show. Like, but it was Scott, and now I got to put up with Santino. Like, it's just, I don't know, he's going to pull that stupid sock out of his pants and do the Cobra thing, and it's. So one thing I get Cornette about, I get him totally slapping that guy in the face. Like, it totally makes sense to me.
Provide context to that. And I know the story that you're talking about.
I'm sorry. I should
might not know.
I should explain because not many people. So he was training Santino, Tony Corelli? Tony Corelli. Training down in OVW. I believe he was unsigned at the time. He was just in the intro class. And they debuted the Boogeyman on OVW Wrestling. And Cornette instructed everybody to be afraid of him. And Santino, the future Santino, was laughing.
Yeah, Santino was a plant in the crowd.
You're right. Thank you. Sorry.
He was a plant in the crowd and said, "Hey, you dickheads, you need to be scared when Boogeyman comes through you." So oftentimes you see some fans that are a little bit over the top in their emotions. It's because they're plants in the crowd.
Yes. Yeah, it's pro wrestling. Anything you see on TV is a lie. So Santino was not reacting; he was laughing. He says it was because his daughter, current NXT signee, I don't know if she's on the show yet, was scared. I ain't saying nothing. Was scared, so he was trying to make her feel better. But in reality, all you saw was him laughing his ass off at the Boogeyman, who, by the way, is not a scary human being.
No.
Weird, not scary. So Mr. Cornette was not happy about that and proceeded to slap the piss out of Santino backstage, getting him fired, getting Cornette fired from WWE, and getting Santino a contract, according to Jim Cornette.
And he was there for like the next 10 years, I think.
So I made it work.
Yeah. It was like 5 or 6 years. So he had like a long judo career before he came into pro wrestling, and he was kind of a shooter, and then he went to pro wrestling. So, but they had the match. Kazarian, Mickie James, and Jordan Grace defeated Bully Ray, Tasha Steelz, and Savannah Evans. It was a fun match. Bully Ray was good here. I think the crowd was really into it, and I think that made it all work. Typically, like, this was a very WWE way to start the show. 100%. You know what I mean? They kicked right into it, but I felt like the way they did, and the fact that the crowd was really into it, completely opposite of the crowd in Albany after Bound for Glory that was just dead ass silent. This Atlanta crowd was hot, and they loved what they were seeing. So I think that made the whole thing, but it was a good match. After the match, Masha Slamovich's music hit. Oh yeah, Mickie James got the win over Tasha Steelz, by the way. After the match, Masha Slamovich's music hit. And issued a death warrant to Mickie James, so they're going to be coming up at the next Impact Plus special in February. They're going to wrestle.
Didn't Masha just lose to the Witchy Woman?
She did, but she won a number one contenders match at Hard to Kill, a 4-way match. So now she's the number one contender. More on Witchy Woman later. Santino Marella and the Cat were backstage. He's asking for some more advice. Well, he said he's announcing a Golden 6 shooter match where 6 former champions would be in a match to determine who the number one contender would be. John Muse would book this match way better, and I already know what his idea would be. He told us, remember the tournament that we were all talking about?
I do remember. We'll do that someday.
We'll do that someday, but it just kind of, the timing just didn't work out. So the finale that he had with all 6 members in the ring at the same time, I thought was phenomenal.
Me too.
He should shoot. Well, they've already taped it, so we already know what's going to happen next week. But so I just thought that was a better, Muse's idea was better, is what I'm saying. But a Golden 6 shooter match where 6 former champions would be in the match to determine the number one contender. He asked for some advice, and Ernest Miller said, "Follow your heart, kid." And so, good advice. Then Santino walked up to Dirty Dango, who was just randomly in the back, saying, "Hey, man, you spent time on the force." Fashion Police. That was a Fashion Police joke. And asked for advice. And then Steve Macklin walked up and was rightfully mad that Rich Swann, whom Steve Macklin just beat at the pay-per-view, is not a number one contenders match. So they booked Macklin and Dango for later in the evening.
So this is going to be Raw, where the show isn't complete while we're making the show. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They're just showing up, and nobody knows what's going on until the guy who's in charge makes matches. Like, you. I hate this shit. I fucking hate WWE booking. I hate it, man. I absolutely hate it. I don't like when it happens. It's a joke. Everything is stupid. It's painful. It's absolutely painful. I wanted Macklin to murder everybody in this scene and just stand there with blood dripping off of him. That's what I was fantasizing in my head while I was watching the show tonight.
That would have been way cooler.
Way cooler.
Yeah. Well, I think a match that was booked before the show started was Deonna Purrazzo defeating Dashley D'Amboise. Did I say it? D'Amboise?
D'Amboise.
I think.
I thought it was D'Amboise, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I zoned out.
But anyway, Purrazzo kicked her ass.
She did.
I think, yeah. Purrazzo's just kind of lost in the wind right now, not doing much.
No,
so
she is.
She beat a jobber.
She's lost. Well, yeah, no, she's lost. She's an interesting storyline in a minute since Chelsea left. It's been a bit now. Yeah. Like, let's do something.
It'd be nice. She's one of the best wrestlers on the roster. So,
but what do you do? Like, we had a super long feud with Mickie James, which was really good, by the way. Like a little over a year ago. I mean, I don't think we can revisit that. Maybe she can feud with Witchy Woman.
Maybe.
See how high she climbs.
Gia Miller walked into the basement of the building looking for PCO, and she was really good in this segment.
She was really good. I wanted to hate this, but I couldn't because Gia was really good here.
Yeah, and then she confronted PCO, who then just started screaming and shaking a fence, and then they cut the camera feed. So there you go.
There's no feed. It's a pre-tape. Like the show is shot to tape, so there is no feed. Stuff like that makes me up. Again, nobody knows that, but it's makes me chuckle. But it's a good show.
Yeah. Trey Miguel was backstage trying to give a wrestling and respect lesson to Ashley D'Amboise, and then Mike Jackson walked up and said he's going to teach Miguel a lesson in respecting women, and then challenged him to a match next week for the X Division title. So Mike Jackson, 73 years old.
Pushing Mike Action Jackson on this show, man. What are we doing?
Hey, we're not allowed to make fun of Noah for their aging roster anymore, right?
Like, no, they're booking Mike Jackson. I can't make fun of Fujita. Mike Jackson's going to get an X Division title match.
Every time they go to Atlanta, Mike Jackson's gonna be there. They love that guy. And you know what? It is fun watching him. So like seeing some old codger do a dive.
I cannot complain about old men wrestling. I'm a Noah fan. Like,
yeah,
that's all we get. What's the difference between Mike Jackson and Matsukatsu Funaki? Other than Matsukatsu Funaki actually was a badass at one point. Maybe Mike Jackson was. I don't know. But I mean,
20 years. Yeah, I would say Mike Jackson's 73. Funaki's probably 53, and Funaki could probably still kick your fucking head off.
Funaki would kick the shit out of me. I ain't gonna argue that one bit.
Yeah.
Not a great pro wrestler anymore, but he could beat your ass.
Killer Kelly defeated Witch A Woman, Taylor Wilde. I thought this match was okay. Looks like they're really getting behind Kelly. Taylor Wilde just kind of doing this new character. There's not really much going on with her. She got a win over Masha a couple weeks ago, and then she immediately took an L here. So
what's the point? What was the point of beating Masha? That's what I'm saying. Especially if we're going to build Masha back to the title, and we're not going to do anything with the witch. Why? I don't.
They're just going to act like it never happened. Yeah.
But then why do it? Exactly. It's a pre-taped show. I will never get these decisions. I don't get them.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did like what they did here, and this is kind of a heavy knockouts TV show. I thought the women were featured pretty prominently on here, so I think our buddy Sam's going to be pretty happy with this show with all the knockouts that are on it. And then they cut to the design. They were with Callahan, saying that joining the design was a 7-step process, which means we have a lot more shit to go through. And Callahan completed the first 2 steps. The next step was for him to win the Golden 6-shooter match and take the Impact World Heavyweight Championship and bring it back to the design. I cannot wait for this to end.
I miss Eric Young so much. I was so over Violent by Design, but if I had known what was waiting for me, I would have kept my mouth shut and been happy with what we had. This is like the new Nexus. This is like NWO Hollywood. It's any version of Degeneration X, really. It's so
for
bad.
a TNA reference. It's the DCC. You remember that?
That was with James Storm and Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston and somebody else. Wasn't it
Was it Bram? It was Bram.
Was it Bram? And then for some reason I remember fucking what's his name? Cold Skull from New Japan. What's his name?
Sonata? Was Sonata in the DCC?
He was doing something with James Storm. I thought it was DCC. I can't remember. It was a lot. I was kind of in and out of TNA back then.
I was in and out of TNA at that point too. And again, I found paper. I told you there was a faction with James Storm and Eddie Kingston. You'd be like, well, that sounds pretty cool. No, it wasn't.
No.
It was really bad.
It was the opposite of cool.
They wore suits and had like these face plates on. It was terrible.
Bad TV.
Hey, who booked that? Remember? You remember who the booker was?
Bro.
No, it wasn't Bro.
No?
It was Billy Corgan.
Oh, yeah, that's why it was so bad.
Yeah, it was the Billy days.
Okay. Giselle Shaw walked up to Santino and asked for a Knockouts World Tag Team Championship match, but she doesn't have a tag team partner. So Santino just started asking every woman that walked by if they'd be her partner, and they just kept saying no. And then he said, all right, well, I guess I'll find you a partner. That's how bad this fucking division is like, hey, look, I want a tag team title shot. Well, you don't have a partner. And so now they're just going to try to find her one.
What more can I say?
Yeah. And then Macklin defeated Dirty Dango. So this was okay. I just wish that, like you said, that the bell would have rang. Macklin would have blitzed the motherfucker, elbowed his face until it bled, and then left him in a pool of his own plasma and walked out.
I wish Dango would have looked like Ruby Soho at the end of last week's Rampage.
Yes.
That would have made me so happy, and have Macklin like wipe his blood in his face, something Moxley would do. Like, I want Macklin to just lay waste to this roster at this point because I'm so frustrated with all this.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they just couldn't, Dango's probably making, $500 and, a buffet gift card. So the probably is like, I'm not going to bleed, but that's what they should have done. They should have found somebody willing to do that. So
there's not a lot of blood in Impact. We don't see a lot of blood on this show. I mean, granted, AEW, we get enough blood for like 10 different wrestling shows, but I mean,
yeah, they try to save it. There was blood in the Alexander Bully Ray match, and there's blood in the main event tonight. So
that's true. There was blood in the main event tonight.
Then the major players talked about how they were on a poor run lately. More on them and Patreon.
Stand by.
Moose walked up and pointed out that the bad luck started when Joe Hendry defeated Myers for the Digital Media Championship. And then Cardona replied that him and Myers are the greatest digital media champions of all time, which is funny for a title that's a year old, and said that he's going to get his digital media title back. And I think they're doing that next week.
Whatever. Moose killed these guys.
Yeah. Look, Dave LaGreca from Busted Open sat down with Tummy Dreamer and talked about his history with Bully Ray. And Bully Ray said that he loses battles, but he'll never lose a war. And him and Bully are at war. So I get the feeling that tables and thumbtacks are coming to Impact with two 50-year-olds slapping hands.
Cool. Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray.
Great.
Is it 1998? No, it's not. Oh, okay.
And then in the main event, I'm going to say, I sent you a text message. This is right after the match is over. I'm going to read the text that I sent to JD. As I just wanted to get this out. I said, this pit fight is by far the best thing I've ever seen Mike Bailey or Kenny King do. And I absolutely mean that. And I know,
to be fair, you have never seen Kenny King perform at Chippendales.
Have I really not? I thought that was a joke a couple weeks ago that I. So Mike Bailey. God damn it, JD, you got me off track. So Mike Bailey, one of the best wrestlers in the world. But nobody cares about him. They're like when Mike Bailey's on the card, like, okay, you're gonna get a great match, right? You're gonna get spectacular moves, great kicks, and dramatic near falls. But nobody gives a fuck if he wins or loses, right?
Zero character.
Because there's zero character. Kudos to Kenny King. And I've always been pretty tough on Kenny King because I don't think Kenny King's all that great.
No.
But he pulled it out of Mike Bailey. Mike Bailey finally cut a good promo. We actually got behind Mike. We wanted to see Mike win badly. And Mike was bleeding, and they actually took a blood sport match, made it into a pro wrestling match, and I thought they did a hell of a job with it. I liked the story that they told. I liked there was no real near falls because you couldn't win by pin or submission, but I like the near finishes, I would say, that they had throughout the match. I like the illegal chair shots. I love Mike Bailey climbing up the side of the ring post where there's no ropes or turnbuckles, just kind of scaling up the side and doing a flip off the top of it. I loved everything about this match. I'm going to go back and watch it again. This is by far my favorite Mike Bailey match ever. And I guarantee you, he had some 35-minute, 57,000 near falls and whatever bullshit in a match that people are going to like better. I'm telling you, this one's better.
So Bailey just won Bola, right? And I kind of went, oh, that's cool. Because I watched Bailey in Impact because, this is what we do. And I agree. Like I've said this many times, what is a speedball? Why do I care? Like I said again, the guy has good matches, but again, for me, I just need to get invested in characters. Like I need that. I need more to my fake fighting. Like I don't approach. Garrett and I had a good talk about this last week where he looks at things. This is from a very sports minded brain. And again, like I'm an athlete, I coach, but I mean, like I come at this from a very character driven brain. And like, that's why I have a hard time with speedball, but God damn, was this good.
Yeah.
Worked MMA is really hard to make interesting, and they did a great job. And this is probably one of the best things I can remember Kenny King doing because he was just a perfect foil for Speedball. This whole little run they've had. I have never cared more about Speedball. I've never been more interested in Speedball. Like I really felt for the guy for the first time. This is what frustrates me about Impact sometimes is we're capable of this, but we always got to have that. And it's that drives me crazy. When something like this just makes, yes, this can be pro wrestling. Two dudes hate each other, and you have a reason. You have a baby face that like makes you care. Like that's all I want from pro wrestling, man. And it was just, I love this match. This is one of my favorite Impact matches in a long time, to be honest with you. This was excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
This isn't a hot take between you and me because we've discussed this before. This is a hot take for our audience. This match was better than the 60-minute match with Josh Alexander.
I agree.
It absolutely was. And I love both the wrestlers, and I thought that match was really good. This match was better because I still, at the end of that match, I didn't learn anything new about Bailey. I knew that he was a great wrestler already, but I didn't care about him. Like like that match did not make me do anything to make me care about Bailey. This match did. I got behind Bailey. I wanted Bailey to win. I wanted him to defeat his foe. And I learned a little bit of something about it. He was wearing something different. He was wearing his judo pants, whatever they're calling it. And Hannafin told us the story behind it. Yeah, Hannafin told us the story behind it. Like he's a true martial artist, and we just got behind it. And that's why he wanted this pit fight match because he's doing his George St. Pierre stuff. George St. Pierre, also a Taekwondo guy, right? So, and a Kyoshin karate guy. So I loved it. This was like, on a very like, there's some entertaining stuff on the show. No real great matches until the main event, and the main event just fucking like made me give this whole show a thumbs up because the main event was so good.
I said, and I think we were both kind of on an island of not. The 60-minute match is good. Don't get me wrong, but it was just there. There was no reason for it other than we were eating up time on a taping. Like at no point did I believe Speedball was going to be the champion. Like it was just a long match to have a long match.
Yeah.
Right. And this was a story. This was a personal issue between two men that wanted to beat the shit out of each other. And why does pro wrestling need to be more than that? It's I don't like watching pro wrestling for Magic and the Fiend. And again, I'll tap into this more because I got a rant planned for the Patreon. Sorry. But like, man, this was everything I like about wrestling. Like, and I never thought I'd say it for a Speedball match because I kind of like being on an island of Speedball. But this is Impact did a great job with this whole thing, man. Kenny King, the best he's been in a long time. Like this was excellent. Go out of your way to watch this if you haven't.
And one thing that I want to give them credit for too is I think that they probably wanted to have this match on the pay-per-view, but there was already a lot on that pay-per-view. And so they built a long-term story with the payoff being on television. And that's not something that Impact does. They save everything for their monthly events or for their pay-per-views. But AEW, their model, since they're only doing things every 4 months, a lot of their payoffs are on television, and it makes their show more interesting. And I kind of like that they save this payoff, this blow off match for their television show. And I think they need to do more of that.
I agree. We need more reasons to watch TV, right?
Yeah.
The pay-per-view model, boy, the dynamics of everything sure is changing, right? And I think that AEW does a really good job of giving us at least one excellent professional wrestling match every week, right? In a way that makes them kind of forgettable sometimes, but in another way keeps me entertained every week. And if Impact can do something similar, right? Just give me at least one excellent professional wrestling match every week. It's going to make the rest of the dumb shit I have to put up with, a little bit more palatable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, everybody, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, if you're watching us on YouTube, that's going to do it for us this week. We're going to head over to Patreon and keep the conversation going. We're going to talk some Matt Cardona news. I think we might have some inside news. We might have inside track on some of that news, but some stuff's coming out about him. Devon Dudley leaves the WWE. CW Network, Vice Media, stuff going down with Vice Media. There's some stuff that might be going down with Bellator. Lots of stuff going on. So it's a banger right here. Go to patreon.com/fightgamemedia, and we are out.